And welcome to another edition of Rosen Sports Monday, except we're doing this on Tuesday because we all know yesterday was Labor Day. It was the end of the state fair. Kids are back in school, and we're revving up for another NFL season. Mark Rosen along with Jim Souhan. First of all, I want to thank Lexus of Maplewood, Lexus of Wayzata, our friend Charlie Swanson for helping out and sponsoring this. We'll hear from them a little bit later. Jimmy, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mark.
Yeah, it's great. It is. It's kind of like the first day back of school for all of us, kind of in that sort of vernacular that we use. I don't know about you. We've both been covering this Vikings team for a very long time. It just feels different to me this time. And I think because, for no other reason, I hate to concentrate on the guy, the quarterback, but the Vikings have had so many stopgap QBs for various reasons for so many years. And now they got a guy that they're counting on, being their franchise quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. So, and the excitement level, the unknown, what are we going to unwrap next Monday night when the Vikings take the field in Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears? So it does feel different. The excitement, yet I don't have the expectations. To me, are just don't make any big mistakes. I just want to see him run the offense, make some plays with his feet, make some plays. Don't do anything stupid, and let your defense win the football game for you.
It's funny. I look at it differently.
Okay.
I'm okay with him making some mistakes.
Yeah.
And because, I thought one thing we saw from Drake Lindsay in the Gopher opener was the fact that he was not afraid to try to fit the ball into small windows.
Yeah, that is for sure.
And eventually you do that enough, ball's going to be deflected. You're going to have some interceptions. It's going to happen. I want to see McCarthy perform in a way that allows this offense to run at a high level. And to do that, I think he's going to have to take some shots. I think he's going to have to take some chances. And I'm okay with him making some mistakes. So I would like to see him attack. And if he makes mistakes, then that's where you coach the heck out of him and you help him get better. If he's playing cautiously, I don't know how he gets better.
Yeah. I guess my point is mostly when you're backed up in your own end zone or the 20-yard line. When I say don't make any foolish mistakes, I 100% agree. I want to see him air it out at times, take calculated risks, make that extra throw. And he's not going to be afraid of throwing an interception. I just don't see it happening because we're talking about big picture stuff with this young man. I mean, we're talking about one game out of 17 in the regular season, hopefully more than that. And the expectation being that this guy's been a winner back to high school, obviously at Michigan. We barely got a chance to see him scratch the surface in his first preseason game. So we don't really know much about him and how he's going to interact with teammates and take that leadership role on the football field. But it's going to be fun to unwrap that.
Yeah, well, let's go back to your original point, which is this is different for Vikings fans.
Yeah.
The only other time they had a first-round quarterback who ended up taking over a team with a chance to win was Dante Culpepper. And that was a little different because he played at a small college. He didn't play in a national championship game. He was incredible talent. But I think there was more mystery around Culpepper. There's also more mystery about how that Vikings franchise could function at that time. Other than Randy Moss, they didn't have a lot. And Chris Carter toward the end of his career. This feels different than that. And I think this feels even more optimistic because Kevin O'Connell's a proven commodity. His offensive coaching staff's a proven commodity. Brian Flores is a proven commodity. Justin Jefferson's, and the offensive skill talent is proven. They've upgraded the offensive line, and I just think, again, really big picture here. O'Connell took Kirk Cousins, whose reputation was he couldn't win close games, he couldn't win in the clutch, he couldn't win big, and he got him to 13 victories, and he won a lot of close games. He took Sam Darnold, who had fallen apart in every other place, and Sam, of course, did fall apart in the last 2 games of the season, but he got performances out of him that had never been seen before, never been sustained before. I think McCarthy is perfect for this situation. I think he's perfect for O'Connell. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. There will be bumps. There will be something that will surprise us in his development process. Who knows how he plays next Monday? But I'm pretty bullish on this or where this organization is and how McCarthy fits into it.
Well, fans know a lot about J.J. McCarthy. We all watched him in particular at Michigan win a national championship. He got a tremendous amount of exposure, national exposure. And granted, he had a very, very good football team, much the way he does right now, surrounding him. Compare that with Anthony Edwards when the Timberwolves drafted Anthony Edwards out of Georgia. And I'll be the first one to raise my hand. I'd heard of him, but really hadn't followed him. He didn't really have an impact in the NCAA basketball tournament. His team didn't. We had kind of an unknown. In fact, people are going, they drafted who? I mean, why did they draft this guy? Much different situation now.
Oh, completely different. And you're absolutely right. Anthony Edwards, you had to be kind of a basketball insider to understand why Anthony Edwards was a possibility as the first pick. Now, I remember going and doing my homework at that time and saying, okay, do you want Ball, who's a little goofy, very talented, and he's good, and he's a good player, by the way. Or do you want Anthony Edwards, who's less flashy, less known? And I thought the more you dug into Anthony Edwards that summer or that spring or whatever it was, you said, okay, explosive athlete, size, strength, has played in some junior, played for some U.S. teams, been picked for those, dominant high school player. I thought you could get to the point where you'd understand why he'd be the first pick. McCarthy, not first pick overall, but a highly drafted quarterback who they traded up to get. I think he's a much easier sell to the fan base, and I think that's one of the reasons this fan base is so optimistic right now.
Do you buy into the KOC quarterback whisper, mantra that we hear a lot, that he has that kind of effect? We saw what happened last year with Darnold and his ability to help this team win 14 games. Obviously, they fell flat on their face in the postseason situation. Not all his fault, but
mostly his fault, though.
Well, I'm saying it. Well,
Darnold's fault.
The Detroit game was
Darnold was horrible.
Yeah, the Rams game he got run over, but the Detroit game he was horrible.
I also thought, but one advantage of being in the stadium during games, and there aren't that many advantages to sitting in the stadium. Sometimes you see better replays at home, whatever. But I thought in both those games, what you could see from the press box was open receivers Darnold to get the ball to.
Yeah.
Against Detroit, they were wide open. They were wide open in the end zone.
Were they ever?
And you could see it. I thought if you listen to O'Connell closely in the press conference after the Rams game, what he was saying was, yeah, they had a pass rush. That's why you have to get rid of the ball quickly. That's why you have to be decisive, And yes, he also knew he had upgraded the interior offensive line. But there were quick hit passes to be had against the Rams, and Darnold panicked and was he did what you can't do. He was spinning away from pressure into more pressure. He was turning 5-yard sacks into 10-yard sacks. He was turning situations where if you get the ball out, Jefferson might break a tackle and make a run into, incompletions, turnovers, sacks.
He looks skittish.
He's scared to death.
Yeah, and now
McCarthy will not be scared to death.
And he still Darnold got rewarded, rightfully so. I mean, he starting quarterback for Seattle, got paid. We'll see how it works out.
Let's face it, there aren't enough good quarterbacks.
No.
They got 32 teams, and there's no way Seattle looks at Sam Darnold and says, this guy's taking us to the promised land. Everybody's got to have somebody to take the snaps.
Based on what you saw at training camp and, decisions are made, the Vikings decided to go in a different direction with their QB2, as they like to call him. Carson Wentz, named, again, very familiar to football fans everywhere in the Midwest in particular, that he's now the backup quarterback. And with his experience, he's had a lot of injuries. He was with, Pat Mahomes last year in Kansas City, really never saw the field with any significance. He's now the guy, one step away that could potentially have to go in and win a football game.
In terms of talent, he's ideal. Big, strong guy who can run, who can make every throw. I really question personality fit.
Really?
I have not, ever since that first injury, I really have never heard anything good about Carson Wentz from anybody in the NFL.
In the context of his playing ability or his locker room?
Locker room attitude, coachability, mental toughness.
Yeah.
I have not ever, and I know people who kind of know him, and I don't hear good things.
Interesting.
Now, this might be the ideal situation for him. He knows he's not going to be the starter. He has to accept the backup role. He did accept the backup role. But I just don't really trust the guy.
Yeah, interesting. Well, KOC is the guy that has to trust him because, again, even if McCarthy gets dinged up for a minute, Carson's the guy. Max Brosmer, we know, is the third quarterback, but he's not going to be the next one in line. Although KOC cannot stop talking glowingly about this kid. I never expected to see after, I watched his season with the Gophers, and he had some really good moments and not some good moments. And I thought, well, he's a decent quarterback. Never thought he'd make an NFL roster as a rookie.
I agree with you. It was complete shock. And I think, and once again, I give the Vikings organization credit for identifying somebody who could be a sleeper, getting him, seeing what he could actually do, putting him in, testing him well, and realizing they have something special here. Because no team wants to carry a third quarterback on a regular roster. You don't want that. You want that to be a special teams ace or depth at a key position. They're carrying 4 cornerbacks and 3 quarterbacks. Yeah. That's not ideal. No. The only reason that happened is Brosmer impressed them enough they think he's actually somebody. And let's face it, yes, maybe someday he's an NFL starter on a good team, but backup quarterback's an important position. Maybe he just develops into the ideal, relatively low-paid backup that you trust.
Nice situation for him, and he's earned it. We all know Jordan Addison, wide receiver Jordan Addison, is going to be suspended for the first 3 games. That's been a pretty well-known fact for quite a while. He, by all accounts, had a tremendous training camp and a really good connection with J.J. McCarthy. Well, he's not going to get back until the game in Dublin for the Vikings, week number 4. So Jalen Naylor had a hand injury that we thought then, how's he going to be sidelined for the beginning of the year? Who's their other wide receiver? Well, lo and behold, after the cut-down day, they went and got Adam Thielen back. And he's coming home. We know his capabilities. He had actually a pretty good year with Carolina last year under the circumstances. He knows KOC's offense. On the surface, it seems like a really good fit for a short-term deal. I don't know what Adams' role is going to be when Addison comes back. He's going to be wide receiver 3 at best, but what do you think?
I love it. And I'm really surprised. I'm surprised they were able to get him. And I'm surprised that Carolina was willing to give up on him.
That's what I was surprised about.
Because he helped Bryce Young. I thought he was kind of the perfect wide receiver and quarterback whisperer in that room. And Bryce Young came back. And a lot of what's going to happen in that franchise revolves around Bryce Young being a good player. He was a very good player for the last month, the last season. And I think Thielen helped with that. If I'm Carolina, I do not trade Adam Thielen in that situation. I think the general, I guess the coach didn't want to. I think the general manager was trying to do right by Adam. Also realized that, hey, Carolina's not going to win the Super Bowl this year. So if you can add assets for an older player who isn't going to be around when you expect to be good,
right.
I mean, there's logic to it. I just would not have. I would not have moved on from anybody who helped Bryce Young at all.
Then they got a wide receiver that got hurt right afterwards as well. But I understand that Adam went in there and basically said, I want to go home.
Yep.
I want to go back to Minnesota. And good for him.
And Carolina's front office was scared to death that Adam Thielen's wife would start a social media campaign against them. So, discretion's the better part of valor sometimes.
Let's turn the page and we'll move on from that. So, Adam, you are now back wearing number 19 with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sure he will get a rousing ovation when they return home a week from Sunday night when they open up at home against the Atlanta Falcons and a backup quarterback by the name of Kirk Cousins. Oh, yeah, he's still around. The offensive and defensive lines have, as you mentioned, tremendously improved. On the surface, JJ's got a lot to work with. He's got a defense I can't wait to see with the acquisitions that they have. And also, maybe even more importantly, the offensive line with the addition that they have with the center and with Kelly and Fries and the backfield, being able to see a running game that's actually going to be able to perform at a pretty high NFL level.
That's one of the great areas of intrigue for me is it's really easy to talk about running the ball more in the offseason. Kevin O'Connell is a passing game coach. So how much does he actually run? I know he wants to. I know he certainly wants to be more efficient in the running game, certainly wants to be able to power run inside the 20, inside the 10 more. I think, he got the right back to do it now. He has what should be an improved interior line in terms of power running. Donovan Jackson's a big dude. Fries, Kelly. They really
got it all.
They got it all. They should be able to power run, and that should serve McCarthy well, should serve the offense well. I just hope that O'Connell sticks with it because he loves scheming people open in the passing game. He's great at it. But I would love to see this team just pound away with the running game against lesser teams,
especially on the road when you have that opportunity to do something. So we'll see. We'll look for that early and often Monday night as well. Really, when you win 14 games, Jim, again, we're talking with Jim Souhan, of course, and you fall flat in a postseason game again. Doesn't this discussion about the success of this football team begin with KOC at the least winning a playoff game this year? I mean, you can't look at it any other way.
One thing that has amused me the last couple of years is people have just threaten boycotting the Twins. Listen, I'm not defending the Twins. The Twins have stunk it up for 2 years in a row now, and they deserve all the heat they get because they just haven't been good enough. They collapsed 2 years in a row, and you got to find out why, and you got to fix it. But it always cracks me up. I mean, the Twins have won a playoff game much more recently than the Vikings.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
And the Twins have been terrible for like 4 of the last 5 years. They still won a playoff series, however you want to describe it, more recently than the Vikings. It is time for KOC. Now, he has the perfect built-in excuse. If it looks like a well-coached team this year, and I'm sure it will, and you don't win a playoff game, you say, hey, well, McCarthy's just getting used to the NFL. There are going to be plenty of easy narratives as to why they deserve more time to get this right. And I probably would be happy to give them that more time. I don't want to see KOC going anywhere. I don't want to see any organizational changes. I hope they keep Flores, keep developing around McCarthy. But it is time. They haven't won a playoff game since 2019. And for franchises known for postseason failure, I'd like to get back where they fail in the postseason.
Oh, man. It's just, you see all the T-shirts, before I die, so whatever it might be. There's a ton of them out there.
And my wife only has 10 of them.
I don't think she does. The NFC North is arguably, people can say, you can make arguments for all the divisions, but the toughest division in the NFL. Last week, while I was at the State Fair, news came down that the Packers had acquired Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. And they're going, wait, what? After Jerry Jones had said over and over and over again, he's going to be here. Don't worry about it. He'll be ready
Jerry.
For week 1.
You can't trust Jerry.
I know you do. Now here, Micah Parsons has got a back problem. He's got to get an injection, whatever it might be. But pretty stunning at the same time. That's Jerry Jones, right? It
is. And we just talked about this with John Krasinski on the Viking Update show. I covered Jerry in Dallas. He used to try to get me drunk through the middle of the day. Things were a little different back then. You didn't have like 18 PR people. You had to fill out forms in triplicate to get an interview. I'd just walk up to Jerry's secretary and she'd go, Souhan's here. And say, bring him back. We'll drink some Johnny Walker Blue.
Oh, boy.
I didn't actually partake, which is one of the great mistakes of my life. I never taste that stuff. But Jerry, it's all about Jerry. It's all about making money. And here's the thing. I think Jerry traded Parsons for the wrong reasons. I think Jerry traded Parsons because he tried to go behind the agent's back, which he shouldn't have done. And then he got offended when the agent wanted to get involved, which is stupid. And he ended up trading a great player. I think everything's wrong with the process. I'm not convinced that he did the wrong thing in terms of football. 2 first-round picks and a very good interior defensive lineman, Kenny Clark, for a team that couldn't stop the run last year.
Very good.
And that team could not stop the run last year. They need somebody like Kenny Clark. And Parsons is a great athlete. He's a spectacular player. Maybe he goes to Green Bay, lights it up. He's really, in terms of pass rush production and sacks, he's right in the same realm as Jonathan Grenard. And so the Packers are having to overpay him, give up 2 first-round draft picks, trade away a very good defensive lineman. Parsons is great, but he's going to have to really perform at a high level and stay healthy and elevate the franchise to make all that worthwhile.
And they got a ton of money invested in 2 players now, in Jordan Love and Micah Parsons.
And we're not sure if either can win.
Yeah, well, they're not. Speaking of the Vikings' opponent, the rest of the NFC North, the Bears, Caleb Williams, talking about quarterbacks. The expectations with new head coach Ben Johnson are sky high in Chicago. Some people are, I think the people I trust over there think, well, I'm not sure we're a playoff team right now, but we might be around 500. Looking for a massive improvement from Caleb Williams and the Bears, who has a lot of pressure on his young shoulders.
Yes, he does, and I'm still not sold. I'm just not sold. I think that Ben's a very good coach. I'm sure they'll be better, but I'm still not sure they're ready to compete in this division. And Caleb, the reason I didn't love him coming out of college and the reason I didn't like him last year is deep down, he wants to make the spectacular.
Yes, he does.
Play. And Ben Johnson and most good NFL coaches insist on the ball coming out on time to the right place. Williams looked better at doing what Ben Johnson wants him to do in the preseason. What's he going to do against good defenses that are schemed up to confuse him? If he can't run Johnson's offense, if he still wants to pull it down and scramble around and make crazy plays, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, they have an issue at left tackle, offensive left tackle to start the season, and the Vikings will be licking their chops to try to get after him. And I'm sure they'll have a lot of quick releases they've been working on all week to get ready for the Vikings because they know about the pass rush and the blitzing and the unpredictability of Brian Flores' defense. Can Caleb handle that when the pressure? He doesn't know what to expect, what he's going to see coming at him. That's a real challenge for him as well.
And the tipping point for this team, we're going to spend most of our time talking about McCarthy because we love quarterback play and everything's so interesting on that side of the ball. But tipping point for this team might be, can the pass rush get to the opposing quarterback quickly enough that whatever flaws exist in the secondary can't be exploited?
Already covered the Packers a little bit. The Lions, defending champs. There will be a challenge to repeat. I guess for no other reason, people think, well, they lost both their coordinators, including Ben Johnson. Their offensive line's not the same. They've had two great chances to get to the Super Bowl the last couple of years. Sometimes karma just says, you've missed the window. Even though they're loaded, I mean, they still have pretty much all their offensive. They got Aiden Hutchinson coming back. Pretty hard not to go, what's not to like about this football team?
Yeah, I do really question losing two coordinators and Frank Ragnow, the Minnesotan. Right. I thought he tied that offensive line together. Having it's like not Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce. Center is not the premium position you want to spend a first-round draft pick on, but when you have a great one, it makes a big difference. I wonder, I remember covering the 98, 99, 2000 Vikings, and that group of people was never the same after they lost that 98 championship game.
They were not.
Did a podcast with Ben Williams, who's a former Gopher who was on that 98 team and was good friends with John Randall. And he's still shocked they lost that game.
Yeah.
You went to training camp in 99. You knew nothing was the same. 2000, even though they got the championship game, that wasn't a very good game. It was just a bad conference. They got destroyed by an average Giants team. So I really think the Lions will have a hangover. And that's why I'm picking the Vikings to win the division, because I'm not quite sold on I think the Packers are very good, but I think I like the Vikings a little bit more. I think the Lions are going to take a step back, and I don't think the Bears are quite ready.
I think the hangover effect was also real when Favre came back for that second year.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, he wasn't the same player.
No.
But that wasn't the same team.
He didn't even want to be here. He just couldn't turn down $25 million or whatever it was.
They went down to Hattiesburg and
it was the money. It wasn't
Satchel.
the visit. I know. I know we all make a lot out of that visit, but it was about the money for Brett. And he's one of the cheapest human beings who ever lived. So the fact that they were willing to pay him a lot of money, even when he was telling them he didn't want to play.
Right. Told how desperate they were.
Yes.
Hey, we're chatting with Jim Souhan. We're going to take a break right now. I'll come back, talk about a little Gopher football, talk about the Lynx, what's happening with the WNBA in general. We got some Wolves talk, Wild talk, and, the Twins. Stay with us here on Rosen Sports Monday. Hey, Rosie here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than my good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they have got you covered with two great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to LexusofWayzata.com or LexusofMaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today.
Hey, this is Randy Shaver. Along with Kevin Gorg, we host the show Fantasy Huddle on Talk North. Each week, we're going to break down the matchups for the NFL season and try to give you the best chance to win your fantasy football games each and every week. Join us for Fantasy Huddle on Talk North.
All right, thanks again to Charlie Swanson, Lexus Maplewood, Lexus of Wayzata for this conversation, Rosen Sports Money, along with Jim Souhan. We mentioned, I think in passing a little bit, the Max Brosmer situation and Drake Lindsay. I watched that game against Buffalo, and a lot of ups and downs for that team, kind of your typical maybe first game of the season. Not a bad football team they played, but I'll tell you what, he's a big strapping kid. I'm talking about Drake Lindsay, and I don't think he's afraid to put the ball up, as you mentioned, Jim Souhan, in the air and make a mistake or two. Maybe much to the chagrin of PJ Fleck at times, but I like the look of this kid. I really do.
I do too, and I'd rather have him be aggressive and have him coached to be a touch more cautious than see fear. I really like, and some of the throws he put in tight windows, he put like They were
They were
NFL
there.
throws. It was like, okay, if I throw it to his left shoulder, it's an interception. If I throw it to his right shoulder, it's a completion. He was willing and able to make those throws. Arm strength. I thought we saw poise, leadership. The one interception he threw was a complete fluke. I thought they had probably 3 drop passes. I liked what I saw. Now, of course, he's, who knows if he's ready for Big Ten competition. He's going to have to prove that, but I'm pretty encouraged by what we saw.
Yeah, they have pretty much a guaranteed win this Saturday with Northwestern State. Never even
One
heard
of
of
those
them.
states, yeah.
Yeah, then they go to Cal. I saw maybe like a quarter of that game. They have a young quarterback that looked pretty flashy that night, and I'm sure PJ was watching and taking notes. But they go out to Cal, and then they get into the grind of the Big Ten season, which includes games at Oregon and Ohio State. But certainly some winnable games as well. Those are the ones that Gophers have to win. Have to beat Iowa. You have to beat Michigan State. You have to beat Purdue. You have to beat Northwestern. These are the games that sometimes come back to bite them, and they go, "That's not the one that you can let get away." And they're usually pretty close games.
Yeah, and I always struggle with how exactly we should view that program. I mean, the easy thing is every time they get on a winning run or start having a good season, everybody wants, it's the Minnesota thing. Okay, yeah, but can you win the next one? Can you win the big one? I mean, I kind of give them a little bit of leeway here. I don't think Minnesota football is in a situation where they can be dominant. I just don't. And assuming that they're going to beat Iowa when Iowa's good, or Wisconsin when Wisconsin's good, I'm just not sure that's the right way to view this program. So it's going to be a really interesting season. The other thing I want to really see is they used Parrish caught the first pass of the game the other night.
Right.
Didn't use him a ton after that. Didn't get many targets, but man, he looked like a receiver on that play. I mean, that was a sharp route, great hands, great foot awareness. And I wonder if they're just giving him a little break-in period here, and they plan on him being a big force when they play Big Ten teams.
He's such a great natural athlete and a nose for the ball, both obviously we know defensively and, as you mentioned, offensively. I think they have a weapon on their hands that they have got to utilize without burning the kid out. I mean, I don't think he's necessarily going to be that two-way player all year long, but with a lot of reps. But, man, he's a talent. I mean, you could see already that 2 years from now, he'll probably be on his way in the NFL.
And I think that'd be a great thing for the program if they can prove that, hey, we're going to take the top recruit, we're going to prepare him, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. I think that's a great selling point. And the other thing is, when you saw Parrish make some of the plays on defense that he did last year, to me, I want to see some deep shots to the guy. Where he has the Randy Moss effect. You throw it up for grabs, and either he's going to catch it or he's going to knock it away. If it's a poorly thrown ball, I just think he's too big of a weapon not to use him. I don't know how many snaps. I don't know what the right number of snaps is, but I want to see him making big plays downfield.
Well, they got a keeper, that is for sure. When I was coming over here today, I was taking some mental notes about what I want to talk with you about, and I'm not kidding. The Twins, I forgot all about. I want to talk to you about the Lynx. Talked about the Wolves, what's going on with them, and of course Kaprizov getting ready to come back from Russia, hopefully signing on the dotted line. Oh yeah, the Twins. And you're such a baseball guy, and yet they're so far out of my mindset. And I watch a little bit of the games, and then I watch the relief pitching going in there. I'm going, who the hell are these guys? And why are they in the major leagues? And why are they in the 8th inning of a baseball game? It just drives me crazy right now.
What I keep telling people is, I do some radio hits around the state, and I have friends who are sports fans, and they'll ask me about the games. I'm like, why are you watching the games?
Yeah, I know.
These are spring training games.
Yeah, they are.
These are pre-spring training games. They mean absolutely nothing. The best thing that can happen for them right now is that Royce Lewis goes into the offseason healthy and understanding what he needs to do to get back to what he can be. Luke Keechel continues to look like a future star. Brooks Lee figures out how to hit for power, because if he doesn't hit for power, he's not going to be a worthwhile major league player. And they get some of the young arms, kind of up to speed. The results of the games mean nothing. They're better off losing them and getting a higher draft pick, because guess what? They're
going to get a high draft.
They're going to high draft. And so go really big picture with the Twins here. I love watching young players develop, and I love prospects, and I love the arc of the building project. But the problem is that not every building project hits. I mean, I covered Twins teams. They had 8 straight losing seasons, 93 to 2000 with Tom Kelly as their manager and with Andy McPhail and Terry Ryan as their general managers. You just, if you're going to put yourself at the mercy of your young players, you have no control over the timetable. So maybe they're better next year. Maybe it's 5 years.
That's the problem. Walker Jenkins could be a next superstar, could be the next
great.
Bryce Harper.
And here's the other thing. Torrey Hunter and Justin Morneau, two of the best players in recent Twins history. It took each of them about 8 different trips to the majors before they started catching on. I remember standing behind the batting cage. It was like Morneau's second or third call-up, and he was struggling in batting practice. And a person whose name you would very well recognize, very well respected for his baseball acumen, turned to me and said, "This kid's never going to make it." You know, Torrey Hunter and Justin Morneau it took 6 to 8 years to become good players. What if Walker Jenkins takes 6 to 8 years?
Yeah. It happens in Major League Baseball too often. When I watch the games briefly, whenever I do, and I see a cutaway of Rocco Baldelli on the top step of the dugout, and he's writing a note or two on a piece of paper, I'm thinking to myself, what is he thinking? He looks like, just kind of robotic. I got to manage this game the best I can. What do you see when you see Rocco Baldelli in the dugout right now?
I think he is kind of destroyed by what's happened the last 2 years. I think he's very frustrated. And I also think he's way too professional and way too good a human being to want you to know that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
He's been put in a terrible situation. He's also sports fans, one of the things they misunderstand the most is the influence of a baseball manager. Baseball managers don't win games. Baseball managers try to avoid putting their team in a position where they're going to lose more games than they should. Tom Kelly's the best strategist Minnesota has ever seen. And he had 8 straight losing seasons because the players weren't good enough. You cannot make players better as a manager. You need them to show up ready to play, and then you need to put them in the right position. But listen, I can't make some great defense of Rocco because the record is bad lately. But I've been around a lot of good managers who lost a lot of games because the players weren't good enough. He has not been given good enough players, but he's too nice a person to say that out loud.
And I think in Major League Baseball, and we don't have to get into the deep in the weeds on what's going to happen with the collective bargaining agreement a year from now, but it's dicey with a lot of issues on the table.
And you know what I think should happen? I think they need a work stoppage that lasts long enough for the Players Association to actually agree to a salary cap and a salary floor, so this can be a real sport like all the other sports.
You seriously think that could happen? That the big market teams are going to agree to that?
No, but there are more middle and small market teams. I don't know why. There's so many stupid things that happen in baseball. In part because the Players Association has always been smarter and tougher than Major League Baseball and more unified than baseball owners. But if I'm the Pohlads, I am organizing all the small and middle market teams and saying, we got to get this right. It'll be, in the long run, it'll be good for our franchises. It'll be good for our sport. It'll mean that, the Minnesota Twins can compete on a yearly basis instead of having to wait for the prospects to develop. And the good thing for sports fans and fans in small market teams is Pittsburgh wouldn't be able to say, we might as well have an $80 million payroll because we don't have a chance to win. No, everybody should be forced to spend at least $120 million, and nobody should be able to spend more than $180 million or whatever the figure is. Move it however you want. It should be, because the great thing about the NFL is that every team goes into every season wanting to win as many games as possible. And I say that unless there's like Andrew Luck out there and somebody realizes they have no chance. But I mean, in general, I guess the better way to put it is no team has an excuse, and everybody's trying to rebuild. If you don't think you can win this year, you're trying to win next year.
I've seen people pick Jacksonville to win their division this year. And you look at Jacksonville kind of going, come on, it's Jacksonville.
I know.
But people are legitimately picking them to win the division. That says it all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Green Bay. Green Bay has as good a chance to win a Super Bowl as a team from LA or New York.
Yeah.
That's the way the sport should work. Baseball doesn't work that way at all.
Let's switch topics and zip through a couple things here. Our Minnesota Lynx have already clinched home court advantage for the entire postseason. Cheryl Reeve has, call it a little bit of a dilemma, rest or rust. They run roughshod last night in a big victory. Paige Becker's probably not going to make the playoffs.
No.
Caitlin Clark on the bubble a little bit. Her team, she's not even healthy yet.
She's not healthy, and if they don't make the playoffs, and if they do make the playoffs without Caitlin Clark, I don't know that anybody wants to see them in the playoffs.
Well, that's just it. I mean, and the Lynx speak for themselves. Cheryl's been running a pretty smooth machine. Fisa Collier is going to win MVP. She should. And I think they have, a burr in their side, as they say, from the championship last year. And they look like a well-oiled machine right now going into the postseason.
They look great. And now, like we're talking on Tuesday, Monday night, they didn't play Kayla McBride, give her a little break. Yep. They still win. I think Cheryl's going to be able to give people whatever rest they need individually on the run up to the playoffs. They're going to have home court advantage. The real question is, when the Lynx are ready to clinch at home, what kind of dress is Kathy Engelbert going to wear?
Commissioner.
Spoon and cherry, maybe? Maybe Prince? Or will she stick with the New York skyline?
Yeah. Well, if Caitlin doesn't make the postseason with Indiana and Paige is already out, I mean, how badly is the WNBA hurt as far as a TV ratings machine without their two of their biggest names? The Lynx have the best team right now.
Yes.
I don't know if they sell, using the air quotes, around the sports world. The people who follow even the WNBA, they're a phenomenal team to watch. But is it because you don't have the biggest names in the postseason? Will that hurt them?
I think Paige Becker's having a great season. Mm-hmm. She's fifth in scoring as a rookie for a player who doesn't even like to shoot first. Right. She just handles herself beautifully. She's been well coached throughout her entire life. She's having a great season. I don't think what we're talking here is the casual sports fan, because the true basketball fan, the true WNBA fan is more intrigued by what's going to happen when the Lynx play the Aces, who have been hot the second half of the season. What happens when they play the Atlanta Dream, who have had a great season? I think people who actually care about the sport are looking at that. You're talking about the casual fan. I don't think Paige Beckers brings in the casual fan. Huh? I think Caitlin Clark brings in the casual fan, because Caitlin Clark does crazy things on the court. Paige Beckers just plays efficiently and makes her open shots.
Oh, Caitlin.
She's hit side
PR
step.
Machine.
Yeah, and she also does things that nobody else does. Huh. She hits sidestep, fall away, 3-pointers with two people in her face. She does crazy stuff. And she's also an incredible passer. She's a flashier passer than Paige Beckers. And she also will get pushed around, and she'll push back, and she's great theater. So I don't think Paige missing the playoffs will hurt them. I think Caitlin Clark missing the playoffs will hurt them.
Well, look at the attendance.
And I think they're still probably going to make the playoffs, but if she doesn't have a run, if she's not healthy, or if she's not, or if they don't have a run, I do think that hurts ratings.
The Timberwolves pretty much running it back. I think right now, and listening to Chris Finch over the course, even there during State Fair time, talking about what his expectations are of the young players, Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon in particular, and the contributions that they need as he expands his rotation out of necessity, I think, this year. And it sounds as if Ant has been working in the gym like 23 hours a day to elevate his game to even another level. So, fans should be optimistic about a team that's made the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years, but the challenges will be there.
They will be, and the league is great, and the Western Conference is great, and now you have Wemby, gearing up, and you have Cooper Flagg in the conference, Dallas, and you have, the conference is ridiculously tough. But I like the fact that, Conley said during his exit interview last year, hey, a little continuity might not be bad. I think Julius Randle will be a really good player for this team. I think.
Mm-hmm. That's a key guy.
And, we do the John Krasinski show here at TalkNorth.com, and we just recorded it. And one thing he said is he could see DiVincenzo starting as the point guard for this team.
Really?
With Conley and Dillingham being brought off the bench, and Dillingham being brought off the bench more of as
I'd like to see that.
More as a combo guard than a pure point guard. Mm-hmm. Because in the summer league, when they played him off the ball, he looked even more comfortable, just going and scoring and creating instead of having to just organize the offense.
Well, he's got skills that no one else on this team has.
Yes, he does. And I think where the low-hanging fruit for this team is, three things. Continuity, which should be better just because they're not making that we know of, they're not making a trade right before training camp. 2, Dillingham should be able to boost their transition offense. This team should be much better in transition offense than it ever has been. Finch has always tried to push it, and it just hasn't happened for this team. And turnovers. And you just cut down on turnovers, So people should be bullish on this team, how the pieces fit, mainly between how do they use DiVincenzo, how do they use Dillingham, and how do they use Shannon. It'll be fascinating to see.
And finally, does Michael Russo have all the flights between Moscow and Minneapolis set up on his phone that he knows when Kirill Kaprizov will be boarding that flight on his way to Minneapolis, on his way to sign his extension with Bill Guerin in the Minnesota Wild?
The short answer, yes.
He does.
Yes. Michael Russo will be telling us about it, and then he'll be doing a podcast about it for TalkNorth.com.
That's what we like to hear. There's the cross promotion we like, but it's going to happen.
It's got to happen. And, the explanation I keep hearing for nothing happening so far is that in the summer, Kaprizov just goes off with his friends to some wilderness area and tries not to be on his phone and tries not to care about this. I actually am surprised it's not done. I thought it was just such a simple deal to do that it would get done. But as we learned with Justin Jefferson and many other contract situations, delays don't mean it's. I was about to hit you with a triple negative. Delays are not an indication that the deal won't get done.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of whenever, we're just hitting the month of September. Training camp does start, in a few weeks, I believe, but it's just an assumption. I think a pretty good one that Kirill will be signing, and he gets the most money from here, from Minnesota anyway. And
I don't see any reason it won't get done. If it doesn't get done, then we will start talking about the crisis that franchise is handling and whether it should even exist. But we don't have to go there yet.
And we can't call it the X anymore. So let's move on from that.
What are we going to call it?
Is it Grand Casino Arena? Is it GCA? I don't know what we're going to call it. I think that's up to the public that they're going to deal with it. But are people still going to call it the X because that's what they're going to lean on, even though it's not the sponsor?
I will, I'm old and I get set in my ways, and I will be calling it the X for the next 5 years. No, man. You know what we should do? Instead of calling it X, we should call it Twitter.
Oh, Jim, that's why you're the best. Appreciate the conversation. We're all kind of, jacked up. I think Viking fans, rightfully so, as a week from last night. Bears and the Vikings at good old Soldier Field.
And let me say this out loud. Thank God the Vikings have Kevin O'Connell and not Bill Belichick.
Oh, my God. Okay, we got to just finish on add on. Beyond getting blown out, and I was happy to see, my buddy Brad Johnson's son get out there, Max Johnson.
Really good to see Max
coming back from a horrific injury. He played. He was the backup and got in there last night.
And he played really well too.
He did.
And Brad Johnson's one of my favorite athletes I've ever covered.
Did you see the visual of the news conference for Bill Belichick?
Yes, balloons.
It looked like he was at a graduation party.
Well, I mean, when you're dating a 15-year-old, you have to have balloons. Balloon animals, maybe.
She had to be so disappointed sitting up with the president. Michael Jordan was there last night. I didn't see a shot of her, but oh my God, the setting for that news conference was something out of a, like a slumber party on a Friday night.
And you know what? Let's be really. I'm not going to say Belichick wasn't a good coach. Of course, he was a good coach. Right. He was a very good defensive coordinator. He's never won anything without Tom Brady. It's a very simple thing. He's not Joe Gibbs, who won with every quarterback he ever had. He's never won anything without Tom Brady.
Well, the soap opera will continue. Jim, thanks so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks for listening, folks, to Rosen Sports Monday here on Talk North Sports.